All right, good morning. We're live. Good way to start by quenching the thirst. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Leadership Pathfinder, to our third live leadership talk. I'm Steve Karagulis. I'm the Chief Pathfinder behind Leadership Pathfinder, and I've been studying leadership for about 30 years, and that's what I'm bringing to you is what I've learned, what I've studied, what I've experienced, and what I continue to learn, experience, and study. And today we're going to talk about confidence in leadership. 2 weeks ago when we looked at the characteristics of a strong leader, the number one characteristic was confidence. And leaders are marked by belief in themselves. And that belief, that being secure in yourself, builds confidence by those who follow you. And this, as I've stated many times, as a leader, there are a lot of things that are there are a lot of areas where you can be a leader. As a coach, if you're a coach in a gym, and I know that at least one person here today is, you're a leader. And the people who follow you during your sessions, well, they look to you as a leader. So if you have confidence, they're going to have more confidence in what you're telling them. Same thing, and I've said it over and over, if you're a parent, even as children, as our parents age, we become, in a way, people who influence them to do things. And if we have confidence in what we're suggesting, there is more likelihood that we can influence the people, be it our elderly parents, be it our children, if we are parents, be it a friend, and of course, as a manager. And so regardless of your position, we are leaders, and confidence has a big role in how we're going to influence people. So as we get started, before we get really into the nitty gritty here, I wanted to know, and you can write it in the comments or you can give an emoji, if you believe whether or not leaders are born. So if you believe leaders are born, I'd like you to put a comment, an emoji, something that affirms that yes, you believe leaders are born. And I realize there's a delay, so I'll give it I'll get 10 to 15 seconds while I take another swig of water here. Okay, so we get a nope. Cristiano does not believe leaders are born. Looking to see if anybody's going to say they are. Well, we're going to keep moving because we've only got 30 minutes. And I got to agree with Cristiano. They aren't. But, and there is a but, like we said, we looked at characteristics that make leaders. So while nobody is born a strong leader, some people are born with more of those characteristics. Or in growing up, before they get into a leadership role, they're exposed to an environment that builds those characteristics. So for example, let's take trust. Okay, we're not talking about trust today, not directly, but if we look at trust is a characteristic of a high-performing leader. And if you grew up in a home where trust is encouraged, for example, your parents may be more trusting, they may have more confidence in you, that's going to help you build your trust, and it'll transfer to you being a better leader. You'll have more trust in your people, you'll be able to develop trust with them. However, if you grew up in a home where trust wasn't something easily given, if you grew up in a home where your parents or those around you were really skeptical, then you may grow up lacking trust, and that would turn out to make you a less strong leader. So while leaders aren't inherently born, they have characteristics that they're either born with or developed by their environment that make them better leaders. So we talked about trust as an example, but this is the same with confidence. So you can imagine that if you were born either more confident, you had that naturally, and I do believe some people just naturally have more confidence, but also if you had an upbringing where your confidence was nurtured because there was encouragement, you were exposed to things that allowed you to test yourself and then succeed or fail, but it was nurtured and explained that, hey, failure is just part of things, you really tried hard, and you weren't propped up in a way that was undeserving, and you weren't constantly helicopter parented, that would then help you develop your confidence and make you a better leader. So what can nurture someone's confidence? Well, like I said, taking more risks, speaking up when needed, and trust. So what if you feel that you lack confidence? Well, that's a problem. If you're a manager or you're in a position of leadership or influence, what happens if you lack confidence? Can you build it? Well, the good news is, yes, you can. What is confidence? Well, it's a self-trust in your skills, in your choices, in your values. It comes from within yourself. And it feels like an inner knowing of your strengths and weaknesses while still thinking positively about yourself. So that's important because confidence doesn't necessarily mean I have no weaknesses or I acknowledge no weaknesses. That's confidence to the detriment of the person, like narcissism. Confidence is somebody who says, I have my strengths and I have my weaknesses, but I still think positively about myself despite those. And you can see that in a lot of places where somebody who's really confident acknowledges their weaknesses and works to develop them while capitalizing on their strengths. So most people are born with strong self-confidence as children, but life throws curveballs, and it's how the environment or how they reacted to those curveballs that can either build their confidence or diminish their confidence. And so if high self-confidence is thinking positively about yourself in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, well, low confidence can feel like being unable to handle other people's criticism, a difficulty in trusting yourself, your abilities, and including not trusting others. And so, like I said, confidence can be built. So if somebody has low self-confidence, well, the good news is it can be built back up. And I want to say back up because as a child, if you didn't have confidence, you would have never tried to walk. And so over time, through small and large moments, it can be built. So it's important to note that someone who is shy or introverted doesn't mean they lack confidence. Just like someone who's an extrovert doesn't mean they're confident. These are personality traits, and they shouldn't be confused with confidence, because you can see somebody who's an extrovert that talks all the time, and then you might be surprised to find out they're super anxious in social settings, and that actually gets them to talk a lot. So they lack that confidence, just like somebody who's quiet and shy and reserved, maybe super confident, but just doesn't enjoy putting themselves out there. So it's important also to state that. So confidence, however, like we said, it's feeling good, feeling positive about one's strengths or weaknesses. So we said we would look at how we can build that confidence. Let's get to that. The first way that you can build your confidence is to figure out where your lack of confidence comes from. Now, this can be a deep dive, so it is recommended that you do some self-reflecting and journaling, right? You want to write things down, you want to note, you want to keep track. And so recording the low moments when you lack confidence, writing down the thoughts or the things that are said that you're telling yourself, writing them down so that you can track. What is it? What is the actual thought? What is that self-talk that I have that is keeping my confidence low? Ask yourself, who told you that? Where did this come from? And decide if you want that voice to determine your thoughts, to determine your actions moving forward. And as you journal your moments, journal your reactions, you can devise a plan to move forward and slowly move away from that negative self-talk. Of course, we're looking at somebody who's got a slight lack of confidence. If you've got a huge lack of self-confidence because of things that have happened, seeing a therapist can help. And I think all people should at some point see a therapist to kind of figure things out in their brain as we age, as we change our mentalities. But if you're trying to build your self-confidence and you're coming from a spot where it's really low, seeing a therapist can really help. If not, self-reflecting and journaling and then keeping track of those moments where you have low confidence can help you move past them. The second way is I'll keep this G-rated, get stuff done. Confidence is built on accomplishment. So getting things done allows you to realize, allows your brain to register that I just completed this. I just achieved this. Check. That's a good thing. So I wrote the book, The Heart of the Champion, and in the book, I write about there's a parable called The Good Wolf and the Bad Wolf. And so the good wolf are all those thoughts that push us forward. They're positive. They're encouraging. Whereas the bad wolf is the doubt, the fear, the hatred, the anger. And so in this case, what we're talking about is feed the good wolf. Feed the good wolf by getting stuff done. And acknowledge that you've got these things done. You can start with something small goals. For example, day-to-day goals. I want to get these things done today, and you keep it realistic. And as you get them done, that list can become longer. And the things that you're accomplishing no longer need to be day-to-day. They can be a little bit longer, but you have the confidence to go for it. So as you accomplish your day-to-day goals, go for more and go for bigger and get more stuff done. We'll keep it G-rated. Monitor your progress. Monitor your progress. So break your goals down. As you start going into bigger goals, or if you're a manager and you have things to achieve, break them down. Set benchmarks. Okay, if I've got a goal for the year, why not break it down to at least quarterly, if not monthly? And that'll allow you to measure and track your progress. And more importantly, it'll allow you to see, as we saw earlier, do you have any self-confidence moments that you should be writing down and going through? Are they stopping you from achieving your progress? And so by measuring and tracking, you're able to see, am I staying on track? Am I doing the things that I plan to do? And as you break your goals down into smaller, you can create more of a plan, more of a detailed plan of these are the actions I need to take to achieve. Another thing is quantify your efforts. So like we said, starting small and getting stuff done, it doesn't only have to be in a work setting. It could be as simple as quantifying what you eat, breaking it down into your macros or your calories, quantifying your exercise, saying something like, I want to do 3 workouts this week of an hour each. And you can quantify that. And when you're done, you're like, I did it. Quantifying steps. A lot of us have these step monitors. So saying, I want to do 10,000 steps a day or 5,000, depending where you're at. Quantifying it and achieving it, again, feeds your brain, it feeds the good wolf. And you can do the same thing at work. It could be the amount of reports to complete. It could be the amount of evaluations to do. Whatever it is that you're trying to complete, quantify it. Set your goals and make sure they're measurable. It could be as simple as, I need to do 3 loads of laundry today. At the end of the day, I did the 3 loads of laundry. I completed it. Again, we're feeding the good wolf, we're going small, and we're building the confidence. And quantifying and monitoring your progress helps you stay on course, and it helps you complete more. And this is going to help build your confidence. The next one is determine what matters to you most and live by those values. So by living in accordance to what matters to you most, your actions are going to define your character. And you're gonna avoid being in what's known as cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when we feel a certain way, but we act in a way that's opposing to how we feel. So by acting more and, first of all, understanding what means most to us, and then acting in accordance to that, we're gonna feel better inside. And by feeling better inside, feeling that we're doing something for the greater good, we're gonna build our confidence. Exercise. Exercise is something that I recommend to all leaders for a number of reasons. If nothing more, get stuff done that you don't like to do. And that's part of it. But more than that, the science behind it shows that exercise gives more than physical benefits. It helps the brain. And more, that is showing in the elderly that muscle hypertrophy helps reduce the chance of illnesses like dementia and Alzheimer's. So exercise helps the brain. It helps with memory retention, it reduces stress, and it improves your mood. And those are 3 things that can help, again, build your confidence. Because if you're forgetting things, if you're stressed, and if you're down, it's hard to then be chipper and positive and get yourself to do things that you need to do. So exercise helps all aspects of life, and getting stronger and completing workouts helps build confidence. If today you can lift 5 pounds, but in 3 months you can lift 10, that's an accomplishment and you will feel proud about it. And the pride leads to confidence. Remember that failure and mistakes are opportunities to learn. Now, we talked about this whenever we're talking about leadership. I talked about it last week as well. Mistakes are acceptable. And if you never make mistakes, it probably means you're never really trying to do anything outside of your comfort zone or even close to your limits. And so remember, for yourself as well, this isn't just for your team, for yourself as well, mistakes, failures, they're opportunities to learn. So by remembering they're okay and the fear of failure will slowly go away, so remembering that mistakes are okay, and remember that if you fail at something, the chances are the world won't end, okay? And as you push your limits, and you do and will fail at times, you're going to experience that. And you're going to experience that the world didn't end. Things did continue. And I can continue to move on. So that'll help build the confidence because it's not allowing your fear to cripple you, to stop you from moving forward, which is going to allow you to accomplish more, which, as we've already stated, builds your confidence. Number 7, finish whatever you start. This is a huge one. Follow through is really, really big. Completing more, getting more stuff done, and ensuring that you finish it will tell yourself, program in your brain that you can. And by knowing that you can do things, again, that's going to build your confidence. So following through on what you said you'll do and completing it builds confidence, but it also will gain respect from others. You'll become known as someone who gets stuff done, someone who follows through. And that social feedback will help build your confidence as well. Find your why. Find your why. Number 8. So finding your why is basically determining what your motivation is. This has to do a lot with finding your values in the cognitive dissonance, except this is that one extra. This is that when things get tough, what's going to keep you going? It's that motivation. It's the why you got started in the first place. So there's an exercise that you can do to determine your why called the 5 whys. And the 5 whys are basically when you're doing something and you say, if somebody wanted to quit smoking, they say, I want to quit smoking because, I want better health. Well, why do you want better health? Well, I don't want to be sick. Well, why? Well, because I want to live long. Why? And you keep going until you get to the core value. Now, it could be, I want to live longer. That's good enough, actually, for a lot of people. But it might be further, right? Somebody might end up getting to the point that I want to live longer for my children, or I want to live longer for my spouse, or I want to live longer because I have a dream to go to live in this certain retirement home. I don't know. But the whole point is you keep asking why until you get to the one that's at the core. And so this deep motivation, when we look at the last point, which was complete what you start, will help you. I say it's that light when the going gets tough and the path gets dark. That's what that why is. It's the fuel to your fire. So by finding your why, you keep that fire lit. It'll keep you going through as the going gets tough. And like everybody in life, the going will get tough. Another one which is very difficult for a lot of people, but it's care less about what other people think. Care less about what other people think. Remember that even those who care for you will have fears and doubts. They'll have fears and doubts for you, and they'll have fears and doubts for yourself, right? So if you said, I want to take on this new project, your significant other or your family, your spouse, your siblings, your parents, whatever, they may be fearful that you may fail, but they also may be fearful as in, well, what will this do to our relationship? What will this do if they succeed? Will that mean they're better than me, right? They've got their own issues to deal with. So remember that they've got their own fears and doubts, and they may be just sharing them with you, but those are theirs and you don't have to own them. Another thing is, remember that most people are wrong about most things. We all are. We have a lot of thoughts. We have a lot of assumptions. We're wrong about most of the things we think until we go through it and do it. And so remember that when other people are thinking Only those who have already gone through what you've done, generally, those are the ones who are going to be completely supportive and understand the path that you're on and the challenges you're going to face. Those who haven't, well, those are generally and often going to be the biggest critics. And finally, a quote from Steve Jobs who said, "Remember that everything around us was created by people no smarter than you." And so I think that's another one, is care less about what others think, because like he said, just average people created all of the wonderful things around us, and that could be you. So don't let what others think slow you down. Number 10, focus on what you can control. So we can't change what we can't control. We went through COVID, and there were a lot of things that happened, and it was frustrating, but the reality was there were a lot of things we just couldn't change. And so focusing on all the things we couldn't change led people to being very frustrated and angry and so on. However, if you just said, I can't change that, so I'm just going to focus on me, I'm going to build the relationships I have with the people around me and so on, it allowed many people to kind of get through it a little easier. And that goes with everything, right? It's raining today, you planned a picnic and it's raining, don't stress about it, there's nothing you can do. And so when we cannot change, or since we cannot change the things that we can't control, if we don't worry about them, we're not going to stress about them, and we're not going to be using that energy focused on things we can't change. What we can do is focus on the things that we can change, right? If it's raining and you planned a picnic, well, maybe you can move the picnic indoors. Maybe you can find a shelter. Maybe you can move it to another date. But focusing on the things that you control help you decrease your stress, and it increases your chance of succeeding at whatever it is you were doing. And again, by accomplishing things, your confidence increases. Number 11, do more things that make you happy. That sounds simple. We're not talking distractions here. We're talking about activities that you can do to take time off. Okay, as a leader, you've got a lot on your plate. Take time to not being the leader. Plan time for activities that make you happy. And it could be exercise, but it could also be just sitting and watching TV. The difference between this and a distraction is the distraction's trying to get you away, and you will do it generally as a procrastination technique. This is a planned activity. This is something you're doing to say, I need to relax. And that's what I'm going to do today. And that relaxation, that thing that makes you happy, is going to give you more energy, more motivation to get back to what you want to do. And so, again, it'll help you achieve, which will help you build your confidence. We're pretty much at other tips. If you've got some things that you've done to help build your confidence, feel free to write it in the comments. There is so much that can be done. And the reality is, as leaders, confidence is super important because it's the foundation to a lot of the other characteristics. So the reason why I wanted to focus on this today was I see a lot of leaders who are great. They're super smart and motivated, but they're not quite there yet with their confidence to get over that hump and really achieve their potential. And so these are simple things that you can do to push forward and achieve your confidence. If there's anything you've done, drop it in the comment and share it with the others in the group. Here are some other basic tips that you can do. As a leader, we said it, leaders continuously develop. Well, that's something that can build your confidence. Continue to improve yourself. And by improve, it's reading a number of things. Reading alone is actually improvement, but reading self-help, reading on things that help you learn about yourself and your reactions, and learning about other people, learning about your trade, whether it be the industry you're in, or reading and learning more about leadership. Take courses. Self-improvement helps build confidence just like exercise. It's physical self-improvement, it's mental self-improvement, and courses are going to help you do that as well, at least for the mental side. And like I said before, even seeing a therapist, getting stuff out, or having a good friend who's a great listener, getting stuff out, chatting, that can be something really good as well. Take a break from social media because that puts you into too much unrealistic comparison, right? So if you're in front of social media all the time, all that unrealistic comparison, that can help, actually, it's shown to decline or decrease your confidence. So take a break from social media if you feel that it's having that negative impact. And another one, something I've done, and I think the philosophies are really great, is follow Stoic philosophy. So the Stoics were the philosophers from ancient Greece and Rome and so on. And following them, they had a lot of philosophies that help us slow things down. The Daily Stoic is one. It's a feed that you can find on a lot of social media. And two of the philosophies that really exemplify confidence are Memento Mori, which is remember your mortality, which is meant to say, hey, whatever is happening today, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter in the end. And that can help you just move past a lot of the things and have the confidence to move forward. And the other one that I really love is Amor Fati. Amor Fati means love your fate. And this is love your fate no matter what, because you are lucky to be living it. So whatever happens to you, accept it, learn from it, and move forward. So following the Stoics can You get a phone call. I don't know how to. I gotta shut that off next time. And remember that by building your confidence, you can reduce negative self-talk. Right? You want to starve that bad wolf. It'll allow you to try new things, experience new things. It'll allow you to have better performance, because confidence is a better predictor of performance than competence. So by being confident, you can achieve more and you can be a better leader. It'll allow you to make decisions that align with your values and reduce dissonance, like we said, and it'll make you or allow you to push your limits, which will allow you to achieve more. And so, you're welcome, Alexis Danielle. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. So that's the end of this week's leadership talk. It was about your confidence as a leader. And remember, as a leader, it's not just as a manager in a company. It is whatever you do that influences others. So building your confidence is going to allow you to be a better leader and allow you to have more influence over those who are following you. And so thanks a lot. We'll be here next week, same time. I'm just looking at my calendar because in 2 weeks I'm going away, so I won't be here. But next week I will be here. We're going to look at another important leadership topic. I hope you can join me. Spread the word. Let your friends know. Come on in. Next week should be an interesting topic. And we'll have a little bit more interaction, just working out the time delay, but we'll have a little bit more interaction because I think we're going to have a lot of fun next week. So thanks a lot, and see you next week. Take care. Actually, before I go, I just saw there's a question. What are the main topics you discussed? It's all about leadership. We're going to be looking at leadership topics. So far, we've looked at the characteristics of a strong leader. We've looked at last week, I'm trying to remember, everything's a blur. This week, we're looking at trust. We'll also be looking at some things that can impact small business leaders, recruiting tactics. My background is in HR and in leadership. So those are really the things that we're going to be talking about on a weekly basis to help people in leadership positions accomplish more and be more confident and secure in what they're doing. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry that I almost got off there for a second. Sorry about the phone call. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.